If you would like to quickly find out the throughput between two MikroTik devices, then a great tool that you can use is the bandwidth test. When using this tool, one of the routers will need to act as a server and the other as a client. So I've now connected to router 1, and in my neighbors I can see another router which will act as the server. So let's connect to the server and check the setup. If we go to the tools section, we see that there is a bandwidth server option. And if we print the details, we can see there's a few settings. First of all, it has to be enabled. Then we have authenticate set to yes. Now, if it's set yes, it means that the client will need to provide the username and password for that user on the server in order to be able to launch the test. In this case, it doesn't matter because both of my routers have the user admin with no password. Hence, I don't have to provide any credentials to launch the test. Next, we have allocate UDP ports from. Those are the ports that are simply going to be used for the test traffic. The control packets will still travel over TCP. However, if we run the test in TCP mode, it will still use the ports specified here, but that will be TCP traffic. And at the bottom we have max sessions. For most users, we don't have to worry about it. It's more like if it's a server and a lot of users are going to be trying to run tests against that one server. So I can close this window, and on router 1, the client, I can type tool bandwidth test. And followed by that, I just need to type the IP address of the server. That alone is enough to launch a quick test doing both TX and RX traffic at the same time. But of course, there are several options available to tailor the test to your needs. So let's have a look at them. The important ones are direction. By default, it's running the test in both directions, but you could set it to either TX or RX. Then you can also limit the transmit and receive speeds, and this is done through two values. There's local TX speed, which means how much traffic will be generated on the client side, and then there is remote TX speed, which will be RX for the client device. So instead of limiting the amount of traffic that can enter our client device, we're directly specifying how much this server is outputting. Then we have connection count, which could help you to even out load over multiple cores, or if you have bonding in your setup, then you would require multiple connections to even out the load between the bonded interfaces as well. We can also specify the duration of the test. We can specify the protocol. So by default, the traffic is taking place over UDP, but we can change that to TCP. And then there's user and the password if we need the login credentials. And another property worth mentioning is the random data one, which simply specifies if the packets will be filled with simple data or will it be unique random data. Okay, so let's run the test in one direction and let's specify the duration. Only RX traffic is taking place. We can see it in the interface list, and we can see it in this little report showing up after we launch the command. We got around 956 megabits per second throughput, which is about right for 1 gigabit connection. As you can see, using this tool is very straightforward. The only thing you should pay attention to is the CPU load of both of your devices. If one of them is struggling, then you will not get accurate throughput measurements. If that is the case, consider using Traffic Generator instead, as with that tool, you can have a setup where one of your routers does all of the lifting.